Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. Relax, kick up your feet as we get into this week's read. Tonight we'll be reading Loving Topaz, a novella by James Colwell. Head on over to Amazon.com and download your books today. Come and support our authors. But we're going to get into this book. Loving Topaz. Tell a friend to tell a friend and then tell their friends. We over here reading, y'all. But let's get into this book. Are you ready? Welcome to another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner, where we will continue our read of Loving Topaz, a novella by yours truly, Mr. James Colwell. And we will begin on chapter 6 tonight, just to give you guys a little rundown on what happened last week in chapter 5. Whoo, Jesus. Baby, there was fight down to the church house. Wally was trying to console everybody, and Trianne and her mama Tree, they were fighting, and they knocked over her son and Trianne's brother casket, and he kind of fell out. The little hand fell out. The hand fell out the casket or whatnot. But baby, when I tell you, I was outdone. I was outdone. Who fights at, well, I ain't gonna say who fought at the funeral because we know somebody that fought at the funeral home. But but they were actually fighting at their brothers and their son's funeral. Child, they just had enough of each other. And they were fighting, and we know Waleed got something going on with the whole family. But for now, we know that he's messing around with Topaz, which is his girlfriend's son. So if you missed that read, go back to to the third read so you can catch up with us. But it was a whole lot going on last week. So we're going to get into chapter 6 and we're going to see where it takes us this week. But we know last week was just, can it really get any worse? Can it really get any worse? But disclaimer, as usual, there will be some cussing. There may be other things going on in this book, sexual activities, all that good stuff, honey. Listener discretion, guys. So Almond Brown wouldn't normally say those things. So I might be clutching my I might be clutching my choker tonight, okay? But we're going to get into this book. If you guys have the book, let's get ready to read. Please check the description box below. You still download the book. It's free on Kindle and it's $14.95 for the hard copy. Okay, support our author, Mr. James Colwell, aka Spiller Boy TV, here on YouTube. Chapter 6, Separation Can Be Good. We got outside to where the Jespers had their car parked. Mrs. Jesper told me to get inside and have a seat. I said, yes, ma'am. As I opened the door, I could feel my cell phone vibrating in my pocket. I took it out and looked at it. It was JJ. The text said, child, what's going on? My gram heard something on her scanner. His grandmother was a nibbler, older woman that was always sitting by that scanner listening for every time the cops left the station. My goodness. I decided I would text him later with the details. A few seconds later, I heard Waleed, are you kidding me? I looked out of the window in disbelief as the police were escorting my mom and my sister out of the church in handcuffs. I was done. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This was a total embarrassment at its best. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, out of the corner of my eye, I seen a van pull up. And then another. You got to be kidding me. It is Channel 11 and Channel 4. I slid down in my seat. I was absolutely mortified. I cracked the car door open and said, Mrs. Jesper, can we go? I don't care where, just anywhere but here. She said, sweet baby, you're so right. She looked over at Mr. Jesper and said, Wade, let's go. Without a second thought, he opened her car door and waited for her to be seated. He proceeded to the driver's side and sat down and rolled his window down and told Waleed, son, get in. Now is not the time to be the hero. This is a bit too messy. You got too much to lose. Waleed nodded his head and said, yes, sir. Waleed jumped in the back seat with me and we were off. As we sat in the back seat, I was quiet and so was everyone else in the car. Waleed put his hand on my knee and said, it's okay, T. It'll all work out. You'll see. I know it's all messed up and confusing right now, but that's how life is sometimes. You know I love you, right? I shook my head yes and just looked out the window. After a brief silence, Mrs. Jesper said, Waleed, I am so proud of you. Do you know that? You are a stand-up man for Teresa, and I know you want to be there for her, but this is a serious family matter, and you aren't married, nor are you the father of her children. This is why we insisted that you not get in the middle, because I know she loves you, but your standpoint is not always valid when it comes to matters of a family that was started without you. So it is sometimes better to take 2 steps back instead of 1 step too far in. Do you understand? Waleed said, absolutely, Mama. She then looked over her shoulder at me and said, I hope you do as well, sweet baby. We don't want you to feel as though we abandoned your mother at her time of need, but with the authorities and all of the heightened attitudes, we felt it best that we go. Right now, your grandmother will take care of things for your mom, and she should be home within a few hours. I'm sure of it. We took you with us because we have absolutely fallen in love with you and want to see nothing harmful come your way. I told Wade that once your Uncle Joseph had gone, that I wasn't comfortable to leave you there without Waleed. I hope you understand, and I will explain everything to Teresa. She knows me, and she knows I have your best interests at hand. And you are somewhat a son to Waleed. He loves you a lot. I hope you know that. Child, I looked over at Waleed. He had a smile on his face. I softly said, yes, ma'am. I know. While thinking, lady, you don't know the half of it. I'm something to him, but I don't think it's a son. For the next couple of hours, I couldn't get an answer from my grandmother or mom, and I was starting to get a little worried. I think Waleed noticed it and asked his father if he would mind taking us over to our house so we could change our clothes and get more comfortable, and Waleed could get his truck. Mr. Jesper said, sure, and we were out. When we got over to the house, no one was there, so we told Mr. Jesper we would be right back over to their house after we changed our clothes. We decided to put the food away that was sitting out that was meant for the family to eat after the services. Waleed said to me as we were putting things away, you know what, T? I want you to pack a few outfits that will last you for the next few days. I'm going to have you stay over at my folks' house while we get everything straightened out around here. And I don't want to have you here while I'm at work till I know everything is chill. Yeah. I just stopped and looked at him and said, I guess so, if that's what you want. He said, that's one of the things that I want for now, as he chuckled a bit. I ran upstairs to pack my bag. I was trying to get my last pair of shoes in the bag when I was suddenly lifted off my feet and into the air. I said, boy, put me down before you hurt my back. Child. He put me down and said, hurry up, babe, so we can go. I'm a little tired. I said, if you let me drive, you can rest on the way back over to your parents' house. He said, maybe I will, because I might let you drive stick later on. Would you like that? Child, I gave him a dirty look and said, whatever, you are so nasty. Let's go. He said, Can I have a kiss first? I walked over to him with my hands full with my bags and gave him a peck on the cheek and said, "Let's go. Do you ever think about anything else?" He laughed and said, "Sure. I think about how warm and tight you are and how I can't wait to travel your road again." Whew, child. I walked out of my bedroom door and down the hallway as Waleed followed me. We locked the house up, jumped in his SUV, and headed out. It seemed as though we got back to the Jespers home in no time. When we walked back in the house, you could smell something that was really calling on my hunger pains. I followed Waleed to the kitchen where we found Mrs. Jesper cooking up a storm. She said, "Have a seat. I'm almost done," and we will all sit and eat together. She told Waleed to go and get his father for dinner. As Waleed left the room, she asked me, "Did I hear Waleed refer to you as T today in the car?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, you did." She turned to me and said, "What is that? Where did that come from?" I replied, "It's a nickname that he and some of my friends call me. They call me Topaz, and he just shortens it to T most of the time." She sat down across from me and said, "Topaz? Oh, I love that sweet baby. And it really fits you. You're such a gorgeous young man with such a sweet soul. Topaz is my favorite stone. It's breathtaking, just like you. Do you mind if I call you that too? I really like that." "Oh, yeah." I said, "That's fine by me. I really don't like Eugene. I never have." At that moment, Waleed walked back into the kitchen and sat down. He said, "What y'all talking about?" His mom said, "Topaz." She was sitting there with a large grin on her face. Waleed was looking like he just swallowed a piece of gum he'd been chewing. Mrs. Jesper continued, "You know how I love Topaz, and I was just saying how gorgeous he is, just like the stone." "Oh, wait a minute. You didn't tell me where you got it from or why you chose that sweet baby." Waleed chimed in. "I named him that, Ma. Like you said, it just kind of fit him." She smiled and started singing as she began to prepare our plates. Waleed looked at me and smiled and then said, "Ma, don't let T fool you and get you all wrapped around his finger." At that instant, you could hear an equally as deep voice coming from down the hallway. "He has become such a part of this family already. It's nice having some life other than me and Mom around here. You're always welcome, little man." And with that, Mr. Jesper came over and gave me a hug. The Jespers are so much opposite my family that it's sometimes kind of scary. They make me feel so at home and so safe. Around 9:30 p.m., Mr. and Mrs. Jesper and I were sitting down in the game room on the bottom floor of the home. I could see them dozing off a little while. I was so engulfed in the vampire flick we were watching. Waleed was making calls trying to get information on my family's whereabouts. He came down the steps and said, "Looks like they're holding them. They will most likely be out tomorrow. So we're both going to stay over here tonight." Mrs. Jesper said, "I think that's for the best. Topaz, baby, don't worry. It's going to be all right. Waleed, you get him everything he needs for the guest room. Me and Dad are going up. You know we are way past our time of slumber." She chuckled. Waleed said, "Yeah, the two of them are usually in their room by 8 o'clock every night." He laughed and said, "He ain't got to stay in the guest room. He ain't a guest. He can sleep in my room. We will watch movies and make popcorn and stuff. It'll be like a slumber party." Mm-hmm. The Jespers both laughed and Mrs. Jesper said, "Topaz, baby, we tried to get him to grow up, but he just won't. Slumber parties at 27? That's my baby. We'll see you guys in the morning. Good night." We said good night as they climbed the stairs. No sooner than I could hear them get to the top of the second floor staircase, I punched Waleed in the chest softly and said, "Slumber party? You are so corny." He said, "I'm not corny. I'm just fucked up over this little nigga I know with little hands and feet, a flat stomach, and a killer ass." He got some fire ass lips and he smells like baby lotion and baby powder all the time. And he tastes like he bathes in whipped cream. Look what happens when I even think about my boo. He lifted his shirt to expose the obvious rise in his nature. I just laughed a bit and said, "You stupid man." He slid over close to me and said, "Touch it. Come on, T. Touch it. You did it. Now you gotta touch it for me." I love the feel of your little ass hands around my microphone. It drives me crazy. He took my hand and put it in his lap. I turned my head and acted like I was really so into the movie, even though I really wasn't at that point. I could feel myself starting to slip into his grasp as usual. I took my hand off of his now throbbing knot of flesh in his jeans and said, "You love my touch? But who was that other sissy you were describing?" I laughed and crossed my legs into a pretzel and sat on my feet in the corner of the huge love seat we were on. He slid over and put his hand up my shirt and started caressing my nipple and saying, "You know who I'm talking about. And I don't know why you making me beg, but if that's what you want, I beg for that ass every day." I could feel myself weakening, so I jumped up off the couch and humorously said, "What you mean, man? I ain't with that shit. You want his ass? You gonna have to take it, my dude." I could hardly hold my laugh in. Waleed backed up and said, "Oh, now you hard, or are you making fun of me?" I said, "No, my dude, ain't nothing funny, and you the one that's all hard and shit, punk." Waleed started to laugh as he tackled me and wrestled me to the floor. He was cracking up laughing as he kept pinning me into a different sexual position, saying, "Do you give?" I would say, "Never," and wiggle out of it, which was kind of easy with me being so small. He tried to get me one time and tripped on his own foot and fell. I jumped on his back as he was face down on the floor. I straddled him. I straddled him right at his lower back and grabbed his butt cheeks with both hands and said, "Let's see how you like it. You're always rubbing on my ass like it's some kind of crystal ball or something." He didn't say anything at first, but when one of my fingers accidentally slid and rolled down alongside his crack, he grabbed my hand and said, "Okay, T, playtime is over." Mm-hmm. That ain't no good look, babe. I jumped up and said, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." He said, "I know you didn't, and I ain't mad, but I ain't made that way." I laughed at him and tackled him to the floor and straddled his stomach. It is so much fun to jump all over him because there's so much of him, and it is all milk chocolate in color and rock hard. I pushed his shirt up and said, "Well, what about this? Does this make you nervous too?" I ran my finger across his nipple, then ran my hand down his sculpted stomach as he grasped for air. As I licked his belly button one time, very lightly. The rise in his jeans was almost instantaneously, which made me chuckle. It came back, y'all. I then sat up on him and asked him had he ever heard the expression "save a horse, ride a cowboy." He said no. And where the hell did you hear it? I said again, "You ain't with me 24 hours a day, little dude. Now just be patient, and if you play your cards right, later on, I'll show you how it works." He began begging again for me to touch his microphone. I said, "What is your fascination with my music, Mr. Jesper?" He said, "I love the way you sing." As he lay on his back on the floor of the game room, I gave in to his request and told him to hand me the mic, to which I fiercely performed a and B selection. If you know what I mean. I think we know. He enjoyed the flow of my performance until his jukebox was absolutely out of coins. I sat up on the couch and went back to watching a now new movie that had come on the television. And about 10 minutes later, as I looked over, he was snoring and sleeping like a baby. I continued with the movie until I eventually fell off to sleep. When I awoke, I was being carried up the steps to the second floor to Waleed's bedroom. I never let on that I was awake. He laid me on the bed and sat there and looked at me for about 10 minutes. He went back and locked the door, stood at the head of his king size bed, and stripped down naked. He then removed all of my clothes and whispered in my ear, "Are you woke, baby?" I looked over at the red digital numbers on the clock that said 2:38 a.m. and said, "Unfortunately." He said, "That's okay. You made me a You made a promise to me earlier, and now you got to make good on it." He then began to service my body like a mechanic on a brand new sports car. Every touch was so soft and so precise that I could hardly stay still. Once he had me wound up to the point of no return, he said, "Now, show me how you think you can save a horse." He laid on his back and whispered, "What's up, baby?" I whispered back, "Surely you are not challenging me." He said, "Your little ass was the one talking shit earlier." I looked down at him and said, "Lights out, nigga." I mounted him and it was all downhill from there. He couldn't even form any more words to say to me. I was drowned in a sea of, uh, mm, yeah, yeah, oh, there, there, there. Oh, child, I am tickled, honey. I covered his mouth with my hand as I finished him off with a few last deadly glides. Oh, Jesus. I got up and went to the shower. A few minutes after I was in there, he showed up dragging along. He said, "I have to admit, I felt like a little bitch." My legs were shaking and I couldn't stop them. I had to wait a while before I could get up. You got me fucked up, T. He kissed me long and deep as the water flowed so gently over our heads. Everything was just so perfect in that moment that I had absolutely forgotten about the embarrassment that I called my family. When I woke up the next morning, it was almost 7 a.m. I slid out of Waleed's "it's all mine" grip. I could immediately smell food being prepared. I went and washed my face, brushed my teeth, and put on pajama bottoms and a t-shirt. I tiptoed out of the room, closing the door behind me. I followed the food smell down to the kitchen where I found the Jespers laughing and talking like it was mid-afternoon. They were wide awake. They were so welcoming to me. I sat and had breakfast with them. They never brought up anything about the craziness of my family. I mean, they were just so respectful of my feelings. Eventually, a very groggy Waleed came downstairs and joined us. After he ate and kept playing with my feet under the table, he began making phone calls to figure out what was up with my mom and sister. By 12 p.m., he found out that they were both to be released around 4 p.m. He decided that he would pick up Mom. Mr. Jesper would be picking up Trianne, and I would stay put. I just did as I was told. Waleed said he wasn't chancing any of my safety. He wanted to know exactly what everyone was thinking before I could be around them. Well, me staying put ended up turning into a 4-day excursion. I had been with the Jespers for almost a full week, and though I was all loving all the attention, I didn't want to wear out my welcome. Waleed had been by the house a few times, but never more than 20 minutes. He brought me money and would text me, so I didn't feel thrown away. But what were we doing here? I hadn't spoken to any of my family. JJ was telling me about all the talk in the streets about the news coverage of the funeral and how it had really shook the family name a bit. That evening I talked to Waleed for a few moments and told him, "I can't just stay here like this. I've got to come home." He said, "No problem. When I get from work, I'll come by and get you." I was all packed up and ready to go when Waleed showed up after work. I gave my thanks and said goodbye to the Jespers, and we were out. So, how is she, Waleed? Is she stumping around mad? Is she regretting all the madness or what? What's up? He looked at me and said, Man, yesterday is the first time her and I went straight up arguing over her part in that madness. And that's because I refused to talk about it. I missed you though. I miss you being at the house where I can see your sexy ass a couple times a day. I started to come all the way over to my parents' house to kiss you like 3 o'clock in the morning last night. I said, whatever. Then you should have. I was up. He said, what the hell were you doing up? I said, chilling. Why? I ain't asked you nothing about what you be doing to pass the time. We were pulling up to the house. I had all intentions on talking to my mom about some of the things she had said. I thought she owed me an apology, or at least some clarification. I walked into the house. She was sitting on the couch watching TV and looking evil, drinking a glass of soda. I sat across from her on the love seat. I said, Mom, how are you feeling? Her response was curt and quick. She said, who wants to know? I sighed and said, really? Are we going to do this, or are we going to talk and straighten this situation out? There are some things that we need to clarify. She sat straight up, and Waleed sat down across the room in another chair. And then she began, what do you need to clarify, Jean? I said what I meant, and I meant what I said. I'm not going to take back anything I've said. I'm tired of people having something to say about you. I'm sick of it. I sat up and said, Mom, what do you want me to do? There's nothing that I can do about what someone says about me. I mean, I'm not understanding your point. She was becoming more and more defensive. She said, I'm embarrassed by you. People are literally laughing at you and this family. It's like you are not a son. I don't know what you are. Tears were coming up to my eyes. I said, and you even wish me dead. How could you? She looked at me and said, what's that faggoty bullshit you say? It is what it is. I was so hurt. I said, that's it. I'm sick of it. It's a no-win. I'm done. Nothing I do pleases you. I go to school, make good grades. I'm respectful to you, but none of that matters. Because you are so stuck in some fantasy land where it doesn't matter if you are selling drugs, gang banging, fight with people, or heck, even fight with you, just as long as you're straight. But since I'm not, then I'm not worthy of your affection. And that is so wrong. And for you to actually say that the wrong child got killed, and you refuse to think that there is anything wrong with that, and you scream about respecting you, you have to be respectful as well. She moved to the front of her chair and yelled, bitch, I don't have to respect you, and I'm done with you, faggot. Fuck you. Then she threw her soda in my face. It went everywhere. I was so humiliated. Waleed yelled at her, fuck that tree. That's some bullshit. I was so upset. I stood up and started for the door. I heard her scream, yeah, get the fuck out of my house. I stopped and turned around and said, you know what, Mom? Gladly. I would gladly leave from this place. You take care of yourself. I could hear her screaming as I walked off the porch. Fuck you! And get the fuck out of my house! And scene. Y'all hold on. Baby, I'll be right back. I'm going to let y'all know what we doing. Don't go nowhere. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. Relax, kick up your feet as we get into this week's read. Tonight we'll be reading Loving Topaz, a novella by James Colwell. Head on over to Amazon.com. Download your books today. Come and support our authors. But we're going to get into this book. Loving Topaz. Tell a friend to tell a friend and then tell their friends. We over here reading, y'all. But let's get into this book. Are you ready? Shh. Okay, we back. Listen here, okay? That was chapter 6. Lord, can it get any worse? I guess Tree didn't care about going to jail. She still hate her son, which sucks. It absolutely sucks. But I'm gonna give y'all chapter 7 since I only did one last week. In need of a new start. When I stepped off of that porch, I didn't have a clue where I was going, but I knew it was time for me to move on with my life without these folks. I just couldn't take another one of them episodes. I wanted to slap my mother so bad, but I would never do that. But oh, how the palm of my hand itched for the connection. I just started walking. I had left the bags of clothing that I was bringing back home. All I had on me was my cell phone and $125. That was left of the money that Waleed had given me a few days prior. I began to cry. I didn't know what I was going to do or where I was going to go. I pulled out my phone. I was going to call JJ and see if I could crash with him tonight, and then I could figure something out tomorrow. But before I could even get a chance to dial the number, I can hear footsteps approaching me quickly. Of course, it was Waleed. He said, "You moved too quickly, T. Why did you leave? I can fix this." I said, "Waleed, there's no fixing it. I'm done. I would never step foot back in that house again. I don't deserve this. I haven't done anything to anyone. Yet I've had death wished upon me. I have stitches in my back. I have one-of-a-kind articles of clothing that have just been ripped to shreds, and not to mention enough embarrassment to last me the rest of my days. What more do you want? What would satisfy you? The only thing that would make them happy is me trading places with Edward, and I wouldn't give them that satisfaction. I'm going to make something of myself. They'll see. But I don't care if I never see them again." He grabbed me and embraced me and said, "You're angry, and you don't mean that." I said, "I do." He said, "Come on. I'm going to take you back over to my parents' house." I said, "No. They don't want to keep taking me in. That's ridiculous." He just about drugged me back down the street to his SUV, reassuring me that his parents are not like that. I knew it, but I didn't want to keep falling back into their lap. I wasn't their responsibility. I sat in the truck with Waleed driving over to his parents' place. I thought I had pulled it together until I was walking up their walkway, and I just lost it. As I was walking up with Waleed's arm around me, the door came open, and in the doorway, like a glowing angel, was Mrs. Jesper. She said, "Waleed, I'm getting a little tired of this now." Then I heard Mr. Jesper's voice coming from the inside of the house. "Trudy!" I broke away from Waleed's arms and said, I told you. Why did you do this, Waleed? Why?" I ran down the walkway away from the house. He caught me before I could get out of the gate and picked me up in a bear hug and said, "Stop it now and go in the house." I said, "How many houses do you want me to be thrown out of? How many before you're satisfied? Am I not humiliated enough for you, Waleed? Then I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. Put me down and just let me go away before someone else throws me away." By this time, Mrs. Jesper had made it down the walkway. She stood in front of me with a stern look on her face and said, Topaz, Topaz, put him down, Waleed. And you stop all this talk right now, boy. There is no throwaway. You take your little self and walk into that house right now. Chop, chop. We don't do public displays for the neighbors. If they want a show, they'll have to go to the cinema and pay. We are not the subjects of their laughter and judgment. I walked into the house thinking, oh boy, where'd the nice older lady go to? That thought was followed with, is she going to hit me when I get in here? Or would Waleed's dad be doing the hitting now? Either way, I was scared as I crossed the door frame. Mrs. Jesper walked in behind me. She pointed to the living room, which was on the left of the hallway, and said, go over there and sit, little boy. And you too, Waleed. You can hear the elevated anger in her tone. She sat next to her husband on the couch, which was across the room from the love seat that we were sitting on. She began, let me tell you something. When I say something, I mean it. Do you understand that? I want to make sure, because I will not revisit this conversation. What she got going on? I don't know how much Waleed has told you about us, but we don't play. If I say that I love you, then that's it. There is nothing else. There's no I love you except for. I don't play those kind of games, nor do I accept that type of foolishness in my surroundings. Now, I'm going to be nice and explain what I meant by my comment, which is a stretch for me to have to explain myself to a 16-year-old or the 27-year-old next to you, who already knows what the comment was in reference to. I'm getting tired of the way you're being treated by your family, and it is really wearing me down. I have discussed this with Waleed and my husband, to which I have been told to mind my business. Now, explain to me what has gone on this time, and what in the hell is that mess all over your clothes and skin? As Waleed began explaining, I sat quietly. I thought for a moment that Mrs. Jesper's eyes were going to pop right out of her head. She was furious. She looked over at Mr. Jesper and said, now what, Wade? Now what am I to do? He said, calm down, Trudy. Calm down. She said, I'm tired of being calm. I should have followed my first instinct with that mess. She stood up and began laying the laws of the land as written by Trudy Jesper. She said, Topaz, I see you. I see you sitting here in your entirety. You are 16 years old. Period. You are not an adult. I would be less than a woman to watch as you are being robbed of your innocence without at least trying to help you. You are overly mannerable. In the midst of all the fussing and cussing and fighting, I have not seen you step out of character one time. And I'm telling you, a couple of those times, I needed glue on the seat of my pants so that I wouldn't step out of my lane. You've been dealt a less than favorable hand. Now what is it that you're to do with it? You make the best of it. You are different and you like boys as opposed to liking girls. Do you think that you're the only person in the world who has this going on? I felt like I was going to faint, but I answered, no, ma'am. She said, does that make you a bad person? Or do you feel like something is wrong with you? I answered, no, ma'am, not at all. She continued, you're right, it doesn't, and there isn't. Now, what I'm tired of is the physical and the unnecessary verbal abuse that keeps coming your way. It is ridiculous. That's what I was talking about when I said I was tired of this. Not you being here with us. Oof. I love knowing that you're here because that's the only time I know that no one is putting their hands and their drinks on you. So for this reason, Waleed and Wade, he is not going back, and that is final. Waleed, get up, go get the guest bedroom together right now. I'm done with this. I'll be setting up a little meeting with your mama. But don't worry, this is done. No one spoke another word. It was as if, as she said, done. In the following days, I was given house keys, a new cell phone, because the day after the blow up, Mom cut mine off. And Waleed took me to the mall to buy all new clothes. Mrs. Jesper gave him a credit card and told him to take me and get everything I needed for now, and also for the upcoming start of the school year, because it will be that time in less than a month. Right before we left for the mall, I was standing at the front door and I heard her instructing Waleed not to go over $2,500 on that card. And he told her that was fine, but if there was more needed, that he would make up the difference on one of his cards. He also told her that I was his responsibility and that he would take over the payments on her card and promised to have it paid off within 60 days. I was dumbfounded by the generosity of both of them, especially after they started debating who should pay. Mr. and Mrs. Jesper felt like it wasn't necessary for Waleed to pay. They said it was all their idea to take me on and that the cost should be theirs. Waleed disagreed, naturally, for his own reasons that were left unsaid. I really don't know what the outcome of that was. It was very nice to feel wanted by someone other than Waleed. At the mall, I had a great time shopping and was almost successful in forgetting my troubles. I made the conscious effort not to be ridiculous. I just picked what I needed, just as if I didn't know about the amount of availability to shop heavily. My total for everything was under $1,500, to which Waleed kept suggesting additional items, and I kept saying no. Once we were in the car, he said to me, T, it's okay. You can have whatever you want. We have the finances to cover it. My dad has an excellent job, and so does my mom. And you already know I'm good. So stop trying to hold back and let yourself be spoiled. We want to spoil you. You deserve all the love that can be poured on you. hmm We got back to the house and I was really exhausted, yet so high on the excitement of it all. The first thing I saw when we came into Jesper's living room, they were watching television. When they seen us, Mr. Jesper turned off the television, and Mrs. Jesper said, "Come on, show us what you got. I bet you picked out a bunch of cute stuff, Topaz." But I really hadn't. I just grabbed the basics: jeans, t-shirts, button-down shirts, and Tims, a nice pair of loafers, and a pair of Nikes. We went through the bag and immediately I could see the disappointment on Mrs. Jesper's face. She said, "What is this mess? This looks like a bag of clothes that Waleed has chosen for himself." She looked over at Mr. Jesper and said, "Wait, I'm not going to have this." She looked at Waleed and said, "I know you didn't confine him to this masculine image and try to suppress his femininity. Femininity. Because I'm not going to have it. My baby can dress any way he likes. Where's all the little tight-fitted shirts and tank tops that you love to wear? There's nothing wrong with it. It's cute on you. And it's the way you express yourself freely. And that's you, baby." I assured her that Waleed had nothing to do with it, and that whenever my mom sent me shopping, I wasn't allowed to purchase anything she deemed as girly with her money. I had to find a way to get it myself. Mrs. Jesper told me that I needed to get out of that mindset and that whatever her or her husband gave me anything, it was mine to spend how I see fit, as long as it's legal and not harming me or someone else. Mrs. Jesper also told me that her and Mom were going to be meeting up tomorrow to talk about my situation. I got really nervous just at the mention of it. How was that going to play out? What ridiculous things would Mom say that may have me thrown out of here on my ear? The next day was a Saturday. I had butterflies in my stomach all morning, knowing that this afternoon could end up like a scene from the Clash of the Titans. I was sitting on the front steps when Mr. and Mrs. Jesper were leaving to attend the lunch date with Mom. I told them I would be right here when they returned. Mrs. Jesper looked at me and said, "Topaz, are you feeling okay?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. Just a little nervous. That's all." She said, "Don't be. This here is grown-up business, and the grown-ups are going to handle it. This is not for you to worry about. You let worry about that." I nodded my head and smiled as she marched off down the walkway in her high-heeled sandals and black one-shoulder dress. I thought to myself, "Well, go on then, grown lady." Mr. Jasper was wearing a perfectly matching black silk shirt and a really nice pair of black slacks with a slide on Stacey Adams shoe. They're really looking sharp. Anyone would be happy to have them as parents. Waleed was really lucky. I was enjoying myself with the house all to myself sitting on the porch playing games on my cell phone when I got a text from Waleed that said, I know you're home alone. I text back, no, I'm not. He then texts, if I catch you in a lie, do I get to have my way with you? I text, go for it. All of a sudden, the front door opens and out walks Waleed. It scared me almost half to death. I said, how did you? He interrupted. I came in through the back door with my key, but you lied. And now, you've got to pay up. I got something to knock all those lies out of your mouth. Hurry up. We don't have a lot of time. And I've been craving you bad. Child. I got up off the steps and went into the house. He slammed and locked the door behind me and grabbed my hand and led me up the steps into his bedroom. He kissed and stripped me quickly and without hesitation did as he said in his text. He literally had his way with me. It was the best hour I had spent in the last few days. It left my body tingling all over. Once we got cleaned up, we went down to the game room and awaited his parents' return to see what my mom's reaction was to the Jespers taking me in. As we sat there, Waleed was his usual nasty self, licking on me and rubbing on me every 5 seconds. I kept hitting him, telling him to stop, which he wouldn't. And who am I kidding? I really didn't want him to. I was enjoying my private time with him just as much as he was. About another 30 minutes later, we heard the opening of the front door. We both leaped up and headed for the steps. We met up with the Jespers in the living room. Mrs. Jesper laughed and said, look at my two beautiful men. What are you two up to? Girl, you don't even know. Waleed said, we were waiting on you. What happened? Please tell me Tree acted like she had some sense. Mrs. Jesper said, and why wouldn't she? I've never had a harsh word with Tree. She was fine. Now, she was not responsible to the harm that she had done with Topaz and Tree Ann. And I'm sorry, sweet baby. But she had no apologies for her behavior, nor did she fight to get you back home. She just looked at it as a blessing. God has blessed you and us with a brand new start. I told her I would take full care of Topaz, and she was free to do her, as she says. She was okay with the idea. So, Topaz, you still got your mama. She's not going anywhere. And give her time. Things will most likely change. But until that time, you've gained two people who love you and adore you. Waleed chimed in. And you already had me. Mr. Jesper stood up and said, I'm so glad all this mess is behind us. Waleed, go and get some glasses. We're going to have a toast. Waleed came back with a glass of wine for each of them and a glass of ginger ale for me, and we toasted. Mr. Jesper led us in a toast. He said, through a stormy time, light has been shined unto this home once again. Little man, may it be as much a blessing to you as you are to us. We love you, and welcome to your new home, son. And scene. That was chapter 6 and chapter 7 of Loving Topaz. I can't believe it. I mean, I can believe it because we read it, but do y'all think that Waleed is still going to be with Tree after this? Because now he has Topaz really to himself. Because, you know, the parents, they older. They go to bed at 8 o'clock. After 8 o'clock, child, it's free reign. When he come home on break, if they're not home, it's free reign. And they calling him his son, not knowing that their real son is sleeping with their made-up son, who is also the son of his girlfriend. That's nasty. Will the parents ever find out? Listen, I think the parents gonna walk in and find out. To be honest, one day, honey, that door not gonna be locked tight enough. They gonna think that the parents gone. They gonna sneak back in the back door, just like he did with that key, and they gonna find a way. And they gonna see. Yeah, they gonna see. So I'll drop the link if anybody wants to come up here so we can discuss the book. You don't have to if you don't want to, but if you do come up, you don't have to show your face. Just don't show nothing else. In the meantime, between time, I'm gonna do a few church announcements. Wait a minute, before I do that, what did you guys think of this week's read? What do you think about the way Tree, the mother, is treating Topaz? Like she really stood on and like she said, I said what I said and it is what it is about how she feels about him. Like she wished him dead. She said that the other he should have died in place of the other son. Like that is so horrible for you to tell your child only because you feel like he's different or everybody else is looking at y'all and talking about him and you so embarrassed. But like I don't understand how as a mother. I mean I understand because some people just can't accept the way that their kids are or are not or whatnot. But it is really disheartening to know that this actually happens in real life. Yes, it's a book, but this actually happens in real life for parents to not understand who their children are. You know, you can explain all day, every day, but I mean, it is up to them whether or not they want to accept who a person is, who their child is. And I know it sounds even more harsh when you say who their child is, but eventually the child is going to grow up to be an adult. But so at the same time, you know, we want our parents to accept us for the choices that we may make, regardless if it's a mistake or not, or who we are, you know, or who we feel like we were born as. We want them to accept us, but at a certain point in time, you got to be like, just like he said, I'm gone. And you got to be who you are. You got to be who you feel like you are in your heart because you trying to please everybody else and be who they may see you to be. And your eyes just don't ain't gonna never pick up on that vision. You still need to be you, love you for who you are. And just go about your business. If that means that you're not gonna talk to your parents ever again, if that is what's gonna make you happy or have peace within yourself, you gotta walk. You gotta walk, 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 walk. You gotta walk. You know, you gotta walk. Hopefully she make amends. We hope. We can only hope. But you know. Ooh, but listen. Ooh, karma is something else, honey. Because when she find out about him, I hope she find out about him and Waleed. And then she gonna have Boo Boo the Fool written all over her face. And I ain't mad at it at all. Yeah, that would be two. It's two more books, honey. His mom is playing. His mom played an unloving role. Yeah, she do. She does. She really does. So, whew. Yes, be quiet, Angela. We know you done read the book already, girl. Cut it out. But in the meantime, between time, a little few church announcements, honey. If you've got to the end of this video and you have not subscribed to Almond Brown '09, why? Subscribe to my channel here and press the notification bell so you can get all of my uploads and all of my when I go live. You know, I go live every Monday here at the reading room, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Monday, unless you know something else happens, but I'll let y'all know ahead of time. Tuesday nights we try to go live at 9:30 p.m. ish. And for our trivia night or family feud night tomorrow, it may be a little later than 9:30, but I'm gonna try to get on here because I missed y'all these last 2 weeks. But last week, y'all know I was having issues. I couldn't talk, so I couldn't get on. But another thing, as requested by some of you guys, I finally went and got the PO box. So I'll put it on the screen. If you guys, if you're an author that sees this and you would like to send a book, you can do that. You can send a book to my PO box. It's there on the screen. Is there on the screen? If you want to send anything else, I ain't, I'm not looking, but if you want to, I only got it because a couple of y'all asked me to get it. So I got it. But like I said, if you're an author, if you want to send the book, 9 times out of 10, I purchase the book anyways. But if you want to gift a book, you can go ahead and do so. If you have anything else you want to send, you can put it here. Address it to Almond Brown '09, P.O. Box 1058, Stark, Florida 32091. And like I told y'all, it's not where I live at, so I actually have to travel to my P.O. Box because it's not the town that I live in. But thank you, Louie. Yes, I am feeling better. I am feeling better. Thank you. But yeah. So if y'all don't have anything else to contribute, oh, also you can catch this on the replay here. If you just got here, you can go back and watch all of the other reads if you want to catch up. Also, you can go over to my podcast, anchor.fm/ Almond Brown 09. My alma bearer, aka my moderator, Miss Shadia, is in the chat. She is dropping all of the info. I want to thank my moderators, aka my alma bearers, for being here. Shadia, loving Libra, also Sephora. I think I saw her in the chat. Sephora Steve, y'all see her. Tell her happy belated birthday once again, and y'all send some prayers up and shout out to my other armor bearer, B Scales 1214. We love you, girl. We miss you. Come back if you in the clouds, girl. Drop down and say hey. And if you can, please, for me before we leave, drop your chocolate and your sun emojis in the chat. For those of you that don't know what that is, that's who we are over here, the Almond Delights, honey. We bring love and light, sweetness and goodness and all that other good stuff over here at the Reading Corner and everywhere else that y'all see me. So I appreciate y'all. Yes, happy birthday, Sephora C. And if anybody else has a birthday, please let me know because I will sing to you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no Beyonce, but don't say. I ain't no Beyonce, I ain't no Whitney, but I'm Almond Brown and I like to celebrate all of my delights. So I want to thank you guys for joining us here. Once again, I will see you guys back here next Monday at the Reading Corner. But hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow for up for Family Feud or Trivia Night. I gotta get with Sephora um and see. You should keep dried clothes in your pantry. Strong antioxidants, kills bacteria, and toothpaste. Okay. Well, thank you. Your birthday on Saturday, mouth open? Okay. Well, listen. I'm going to sing for you right now, just in case I don't come back and I forget. I don't want to forget, but I'm going to sing. So y'all tell mouth open now, in case I don't come back live before her birthday. I'm going to say it. So happy birthday to everybody that's in the month of March. Before I sing to you, I want to give a happy heavenly birthday to my mother. She would have been 63 years old today. It's her birthday. March 1st is my mom's birthday. So y'all send a happy heavenly birthday up to my mom up in heaven. So happy birthday, Mom. I love you. I miss you. Look at me, girl. Look at me. Look at your baby girl. But yeah, I should have had her picture here so y'all can see how she look. We kind of like twins almost or whatever. But that's my baby. That's my baby. But yes, mouth open, girl. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear mouth open. And my mom, happy birthday to you. We love you. We do. We love you. We do. We love you, everybody. We love you. We do. Happy birthday. Yes, and this is my sister. That's one of my other sisters. So happy birthday to our mom up in heaven. So Thank y'all for the love. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. You're welcome, mouth open. You're welcome. So if I do go live again and I remember before Saturday or on Saturday, then I'm gonna sing to you again. So just act like it ain't happened. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for joining me for another night of Almond Delights Reading Corner. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I'll see y'all around here on the YouTube streets. And if you're on Instagram, go follow me, Instagram.com/Almond Brown 0. Yeah, Almond Brown 09. Again, if you're an author, if you want me to read your book, email me, almondbrown09@gmail.com. I love y'all. Y'all know that. And I love you how? I love you with the love of God. And there is what? Nothing you can do about it. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Thank you all for joining another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. I pray that you enjoyed yourself and you're relaxing your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. Come back and join us again next week as we continue our reading. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Be blessed and enjoy your evening.